What's going on, fellas? It's great to see you, man. I missed you boys. How are you?
Yeah, man, good to see you.
Yeah, we're doing well.
Yeah, you really are. I mean, this new song was amazing. You haven't stopped. You keep serving us as fans of your band and just keep bringing us into this world. And this song feels like some closure, though, right? It's got a sense of something coming to an end. And I think people are starting to cotton onto that and get a sense that it's been a magical ride up to this point of whatever you've been building and how you've been presenting it. But tell us a little bit about where the spirit of the band is in relation to everything from sort of Blurry Face up to this forthcoming project.
I was talking to Josh about how we kind of played it like our last record, Clancy, was going to be the end of the story, and we intentionally knew it was going to be a cliffhanger the way it ended. And I think that we felt a little like we had just done a misdirection to the fans. We never like to pull the rug out from under them. So intentionally knowing that we wanted to name the following record Breach was kind of this play on, we kind of breached their trust a bit in a way that actually ties into the story that we're telling as well. So yeah, it felt like it worked, but it is like officially this album Breach is the last album that's telling the story. The story will end with this one.
Let me ask you this then, without giving too much away, because there's no point in breaching, sort of in creating this sense of like it's not done, now it is done, and then kind of giving the game away. But was it a relatively spontaneous decision for you to continue, given that you kind of figured that Clancy was going to kind of wrap this up? I guess what I'm asking is, at what point in the timeline did you go, you know what, maybe let's breach?
Well, we always knew that there were more songs to be added to Clancy. We just didn't know exactly. There was a moment where we thought we were just going to add songs to the record, and anytime I would tell someone that, I would go to my local coffee shop, and one of the guys that works there always asks how things are going, and I tell him, we're thinking about we're gonna add some songs to the record to kind of like wrap it up, and he goes, "Oh, like a deluxe."
Yeah, it's such a weird word, especially in this context, right?
My heart sank. It was just like, that's how you describe fast food.
I was waiting for you to say it, right? It's just like the great deal breaker, especially for this, because you've just built this beautiful, entirely immersive thing. And it's like, let's just snap you out of the spell and bring you into the record industry reality of deluxe. It's like, nah, man.
And Josh and I talk about like, there's no other way that really in our culture right now with the way that we consume music, that's the easiest way to describe adding songs to a record is deluxe. And it almost makes it seem like they were songs that didn't quite make the cut at first or whatever. And we live in this industry right now is all about just trying to like add stuff to records to give them another like second, third life type of thing. And I'm not really we're not into that. So we knew that this had to live as its own record. And
it would have been the first and only misstep in an otherwise flawless execution.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
You see all the things behind the scenes that you wish could have been done better. But from fans' point of view, since you arrived in 2015 with this particular era of the band, it's been fascinating to see you bring it to life. So I want to talk a little bit about, like, at this point, just what the undertaking of it all, because it's one thing to put an album out with artwork and visuals and things, and that's a beautiful creative exercise. But then you got to bring it to life live. And then you have to make sure that the messaging and the way you're engaging with people is in line with this. It must have felt at times very overwhelming in a great way, but still.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the big overwhelming part, I think, sometimes happens the day that tour cycle for an album ends, because it's starting from zero and creating a record and then putting a show together that kind of is the visual representation of that album. That's all it's like the most fun part, but it's also like the most challenging part. And then when we're on tour, especially like, halfway through a tour, that's where it starts to feel like, oh man, okay, we can kind of coast on this for a little bit and actually kind of sit back and enjoy the thing that we made in a way that we're able to kind of like see it objectively. and then and then that tour ends, and then it's like, oh man, now it's kind of straight back to square one. So I feel like anytime kind of that last day of tour, it's kind of like this bittersweet thing where it's like, man, we're kind of putting this portion of of the story kind of like to rest, but now it's time to get back to work.
Well, I wondered if that's what prompted you to get back to work so fast, because you only just wrapped that particular tour up in the UK. We're all watching these shows. We're all watching you continue to add legs and figure it out. That comes to an end. And then we're right back with the contract and with Breach. And so I wonder whether or not it's like, look, let's just keep going because we're in that rhythm. You know what I mean? We know what we're doing.
I think that we were always curious about the concept of releasing music. We've been using the phrase in stride, because the way that we've been doing it up until now is we go away, we take a moment, we disappear, we come back with a record. And I think that I imagine like standing in a town hall or something and raising your hand and saying, be like, okay, now we're ready to release a record. Who's all interested. It's tough to gather everyone who even would say that they're fans of our music all at once. So to kind of announce an album, and announce a new era in stride with the previous album, it does seem like we had everyone's attention, and we're really excited about kind of bringing fans along, and not worrying about trying to get everyone's attention all at once. And I think that also, as I get older, especially, I feel like
you look younger.
It's a filter.
It's just you got portrait on. No, but it's your cinematic. No, but it's okay. That's the only misstep in otherwise flawless execution. You went cinematic on us. No,
I don't even know how to do that. How do you do that? Is there a way to make me look hotter on this?
Tyler, that's impossible. but we'll send someone over, put you on cinematic mode.
I knew there was a reason why you were the only interview we were going to take.
Kill him with kindness, they say. I digress. You were saying as you mature somewhat.
Yeah. As I get older as a creative, the way I would describe creating songs is is a little grotesque, but vomiting on the table and just like whatever comes out. And when you're younger, it seems like you just have a lot more stuff come out just naturally. It's just a flow of, I don't know why it is that when you're younger, it seems to just come out of you easier. As we get older, it does feel like there's less vomit, creative, just blah that comes out. But we do feel like we've learned how to organize it better. So as we're realizing, there's less, coming out, we know now kind of have some wisdom on what to do and how to piece it together and how to make it something. So I felt that as a songwriter. Oh, I still have something.
Oh yeah, there's so many questions in this song. I mean, there's unresolved. This is an unresolved experience. If you listen to it really lyrically, I think it feels there's a lot of like, what is this feeling? What's going on? Like, is it lights out yet? Like, what is happening? There's just a lot of questions going on in this song.
Yeah, that's I guess that's good.
It's great.
The other thing with this melody on the contract specifically, I've gotten to the point where as I'm singing melodies and working on a lyric and a point of view, I have my, kind of go-to, my tools in the tool belt of how I would sing something or how I would melodically move throughout chords. And this song particularly, I was like, I need to just rethink what a good melody even is.
How do you do that? How do you break the spell? How do you put yourself in the uncomfortable?
You take exactly what came natural and you do the opposite. And so for me, the chorus of Contract, like when I was first starting to sing over this chord progression, it just was like, I've done this, I've heard this. I want to do, like, if I were to move, what if I were to jump up higher, quicker, and then come back down and like there's previous version of me would never think I can go
yeah.
There's just almost as I'm seeing the melody drawn out, like I would never have done that. And I just really forced myself to kind of rethink, kind of rewire what I think a good melody even is.